Hey, you alright?
Yeah, why?
I don't know, you look like you're upset. You upset?
No, I mean, it's so much equipment.
What do you mean? The stuff that I used to make my channel?
Yeah, like it's taken up the whole kitchen. I know you love to do it. What the f? I know, and I'm not I want you to do it. It's ridiculous. Telling you. But it's like, the kitchen is always a disaster. You can't even walk through. This is, enough. This is, you're rolling everything around, you scratch the ceilings, you scratch the trim, all the doors. We have to paint the house.
Okay.
You gotta get rid of the equipment out of the house.
What do you mean? Where am I gonna go? How am I gonna do?
I mean, I don't know, downstairs. I don't know, build a kitchen downstairs.
Kind of done something I shouldn't have done, which is take advantage of my wife's patience over the past year as I build this YouTube channel, and I've violated her kitchen space. So it is time for me to build a test kitchen, which I'm very excited about because I have an enormous amount of passions. I'm passionate about woodworking, I'm passionate about metalworking and computer programming, and what I'm gonna build is a lab, kind of like a kitchen lab, where I'm gonna walk you through the process of the creation of the lab and show you some of the things that I am passionate about by injecting it into the food and the recipes that I'll be teaching you. And today, I'm gonna be showing you how to make scordalia, which is a revered garlic sauce that I make at my restaurant. And there's a couple ways of making scordalia. You can make scordalia with potatoes, or you can make it with bread. I don't like making it with potatoes. To me, it becomes more like a mashed potato with garlic in it. And that's not the way I like to enjoy my scordalia. The creamy, delicious scordalia that I serve in my restaurant, I make with bread. Now, I can't have bread, so we're gonna be using a gluten-free bread today to make this scordalia. The process is basically the same. The difference is that we're trying to create an emulsification, a suspension between the oil and the water and the bread. And that's challenging because it's part chemistry, part science, and, well, it's part art too. So, well, you know what? Let me just show you what I mean. The oil and the water won't mix, but there will be particles of oil that are floating in the water, and that happens because of the weight of the water. So you theoretically have a suspension, you don't have a mixture. What we're trying to do today is create a balance between the water, the bread, and the oil in such a way that the three of them will become one and stay in suspension without separating, and that's called an emulsification. When we're making scordalia, what we are actually doing is going by feeling. And I can't show you this feeling that I'm talking about over YouTube. So I have to come up with a way of showing you how to do this that it'll be foolproof for you. And the ideal way to do it is to measure it by weight until you get a feel for it. Then you don't need a scale anymore. Start out by zeroing our scale with the plate on it. We're gonna measure this in grams, and then we're gonna weigh out our bread. And our bread is 244 grams. Okay, so just write that number down. Then we're going to zero out our bowl. That's where our water is going to go. That's zeroed out, and we're just going to add a random number in there. Make sure you don't exceed the capacity of your scale. So let's just go with a round number of, let's say, 750 grams. Okay, there we go. So we have 750 grams of water. Now we know how much water we're using and we know how much bread we're using. What you want to do is soak the bread in the water. And this is where it becomes more art. You gotta do it in such a way where the water, now this is cold water, by the way, the water has to be cold. You take your bread and you soak it, and you'll feel it. You'll feel the right amount. Until you can learn that, we're just gonna go by weight. Just gonna soak our bread, get a feeling for how we want it. It's gonna kind of be almost like a wet dough. Now this bread has no gluten in it. It's Udi's multigrain bread, and the problem with it is it falls apart. It's not like traditional bread. If you were using traditional bread, it would stick together. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually strain out the remnant so we know exactly how much we're using here. I'm gonna take my strainer and I'm gonna strain the bread through the strainer. Now this isn't gonna be exact, but it'll be okay. Push all the water out. So it's exactly the same consistency as the wet bread that we made earlier. Okay, add that to the pile. And now let's see what we got here. We have 242 grams of water that has not been used. So we've actually used 500 grams of water to our bread. Now we add that to our food processor. And this has the perfect consistency. This is exactly what we're looking for. You want to create like a texture here. You just don't want it to be straight bread. And to do that, we're gonna add some sunflower seeds to this. Uncooked raw sunflower seeds. We're gonna put in about a quarter cup to this. And for our garlic, I'm gonna use organic granulated garlic. And to this mix, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon, and then I'm gonna taste it because it's really up to you. Sometimes the dehydrated garlic is stronger than other times. I'm gonna start with 1 tablespoon, taste it. If I like the taste, I'm gonna leave it alone. If I don't like it, I'm gonna add more. One of the things you can do is you can cut off the edges. If you like a lighter scordalia, you could just cut off the edges, but gluten-free bread is expensive, and I really don't care if it's gonna be looking dark to me, so I left the edges in. Now, this is what you're looking for here, okay? Almost like, literally, it's like paste. To this, we're gonna add a teaspoon of either Celtic sea salt or Himalayan sea salt. I'm gonna blend it up once again. I'm zeroing out my scale here, and I'm gonna add roughly, because I know from experience that this is gonna be about a cup of oil in this. So I'm just gonna weigh that, because I could be wrong. I have to see how it's gonna work. That's where the art comes in. So if you have everything weighed and you use what you use, then you know exactly what to do the next time around. And that's gonna change a little bit because the barometric pressure affects the emulsification, the humidity affects emulsification, the dryness of the individual loaves of bread affects the emulsification. So you gotta kind of get a pulse on it. Let's just go with 200 grams, just to keep it nice and simple. You're gonna add this to here while it's blending, and you're gonna slowly add the oil. I promise you, you're gonna need at least a half to 3/4 of a cup, and then we'll see what's left. This is the perfect consistency for the scordalia. It's almost like a very loose peanut butter. And it is absolutely delicious. If you find that after you add your oil, that the scordalia is too thick, you can thin it out by slowly adding cold water to it while you puree it. To me, even though it looked really good, to me it seems like it was a little too thick, so I'm just gonna add a little water to it. That's more like it. This quarter cup of water that I added to the scordalia while it was blending really did the trick. This will hold in the refrigerator for about 4 or 5 days. It will start to ferment. When it does, you throw it out. This is an unbelievable dip that you can have just on a cracker. Greeks traditionally serve it with fried calamari. It goes really, really well with fried vegetables, grilled vegetables, as an accompaniment to rice. Wherever you enjoy garlic and a creamy garlic sauce, this is where you would add the scordalia. Experiment with it. Give it a try. Please leave a comment down below. Please consider subscribing to this channel. I really appreciate you tuning in, and I want to thank you for being a part of this channel and growing with me. So hit that subscribe button, share this on social media. It means everything to me. Stay tuned next week for another episode.